Alrighty guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to use JSON data. Now, of course, the first thing we need is JSON data. So if you already are using an API, then go ahead, grab some data from that. Any data is going to work fine. However, if you don't and you just are, watching this video wanting to learn, then I already uploaded a little sample file right on my GitHub page. So github.com/BuckyRoberts. Go to source code from tutorials. And inside Node.js, of course, this tutorial is 21. You're going to see a file called videodata.json. And you can actually just copy all this. Short little chunk, 50 lines of code. And go back in IntelliJ. And of course, we need to add this to our project. So where we want to add it is actually just in the main directory. So if you right click Megan or whatever your file name is, new file, I'm just going to name it videodata.json and paste this in there, and boom, look at that. And actually what I want to do is I want to make sure this is all formatted neatly. So anytime you want to, or if you ever copy code from the internet for, I don't know, maybe some example code you want to include, and you paste it in and it's all weird, like the tabs are messed up and the spacings looks funny and stuff, what you can do is you can hit Control A to select everything, then Control Alt L, and what this does, it reformats your code. It doesn't like change your variables or anything, it just pretty much spaces it exactly like it should be. So this is already good, so that's why that didn't change. Beautiful. So now that we have some kind of JSON data, let's figure out how to use it. Actually, let me rearrange these tabs so it's a little bit easier to understand. And by the way, before I continue, I should probably explain what the heck this data is. This is just data from the API that we're working on for my site, and it is just data about this appetizer section. I don't know why I picked this, why the heck not, but basically it just has information about these videos, like the playlist titles, how many videos are in each, and the name of each playlist, a little description about it, how many videos. Again, just real quick JSON data. That was the first thing to pop in. So yeah, there you go. Alright, so in order to learn how to include JSON data or even how to use it at all, we first need to understand something called local variables. Now this is a kind of confusing name because essentially what a local variable does is it allows you to make a variable that you can use anywhere in your program. So in other words, we can make a variable right here. Actually, let me show you real quick. So what does our website look like now? Alright, so this is the home page. This is the about page. Looks pretty cool. And let's say that we had some kind of point system and we wanted to display my points on every single page. Well, of course, we don't want to make a bunch of variables that are just going to point to the same thing because it will be kind of a waste. So what we can do is we can make one variable and we can display it anywhere we want in our entire project. So I'll show you guys how to do that. So in your app.js, right under this line of code right here, you can actually stick it anywhere, it doesn't matter as long as it's after app. Do this, app.locals right there, and now after this you give it a variable name, and I'm just going to name mine points. Name it whatever you want and set it equal to however many points you think you deserve. I am pretty cool, so I think I deserve 8,713. And it doesn't have to be a number, it can be a name. Just make any variable that you want. But what this does is it makes a variable local to your app, and that's the kind of confusing thing. Whenever a variable is local to your app, it pretty much means a global variable that you can use anywhere in your entire program. So say that we wanted to display these points on the home page. Well, all we would do is make a new paragraph here. So let me just copy this. All we would do, just like before, is just type points right there, and that's it. So there you go, probably the easiest thing that you have ever been taught. Anytime you want to use something across any file, then what you do is you store it in a locals variable, give it a name, and you can use it anywhere. So why am I teaching you guys this when we're supposed to be learning about JSON? Well, that's what we're going to do with this JSON file. Now remember, a JSON file, all it is pretty much a JavaScript object. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this data, this JSON file, and we're going to store it inside a local variable, and we'll actually do that right now. So app.locals, and it doesn't need to be a variable such as a string or a number. It can actually be an entire file. So I'm just going to name mine video data and set this equal to require video data.json, and of course, since it is not the core module, we have to reference it properly and add our semicolon. So now what we can do is we can actually use this video data object anywhere in any of our templates, and it's essentially just equal to this right here, which is essentially just a JavaScript object. Pretty awesome. So let's say that on, I don't know, we'll just mess with my homepage right now. So on my homepage, we'll say that we wanted to display some info from this JSON file. So we'll just say we'll display the names of the playlist, just to keep things really, really easy. So we can get rid of this right here, first of all. I didn't really like that anyways. Alright, so get rid of this. And actually, let me get rid of the points as well, now that you know how to use them. Alright, now remember, our entire JSON file, it can be referenced through the variable video data. So now we can just use it like any other variable. So video data, and what do we want to print out? So for the header, we'll just print out category name. Category name. And actually, let me change this to like heading 3. So hopefully this will print out appetizers and sides. There you go, appetizers and sides. So now what we can do in our unordered list is we can just make a real quick loop through the JSON data, and for each piece of information we can just print it out as a list item. So video data dot categories dot for each, and by the way, you're going to use the for each loop a lot whenever you're working with JSON data. There's no point in making a regular for loop, because then you got to count all the objects and then somehow use that as the value to determine how much to loop through. Just use a for each loop. It's a lot easier and it works perfectly. So inside here, actually let me add my semicolon first. So inside here we're just going to throw in a function, and the parameter for that function, we give it a temporary variable. Now this variable is going to represent each of these objects. So pretty much each category. So from there we can just say print out like the category name, or we can print out the view count, whatever we want to do. So just make sure everything is in the right place. Wow, sometimes autocomplete is a pain in the butt. Copy that as well. Alright, looks good. Make sure my tabs are good. Clean up that, and I'm going. Alright. So now, like I said, what we can do is just print out a list element or a list item for each one. And since this is a variable, percent equals item dot, what was it? Category name. Alright, so hopefully that autocomplete didn't mess anything up too bad. And it ran my incorrect thing. I want to run bin www. Alright, looking good. So again, here is the main category, the parent, and for each of these playlists, app, side dishes, whatever, loop through the JSON data and put out each bit of information correctly. So there you go. As easy as that. Pretty much we import some JSON data. We don't have to convert it to an object because it's already an object. The only thing we have to do is set it equal to some variable that we can use anywhere in our program, and we can just use it accordingly. This is like the easiest thing we have ever learned, and the only problem that we have right now is that this is actually a little bit too easy. So since that's the case, in the next tutorial I'll show you guys an alternative way of working with JSON data, and you guys might prefer it. So thank you guys for watching. See you next time.